All right, so cannabis, marijuana, weed, ganja. Let's talk about the most famous herb, probably, on the planet of the Earth in recorded history. Do I smoke it? Do I like it? Do I hate it? Let's talk about it. Alright, so today I thought I'd share my story with cannabis with you guys. I've smoked a lot of cannabis in my life. I have a lot of experience. I used to grow it even. And now I very rarely smoke it. I'd like to share some of my thoughts about this herb with you guys, my story as well, and my current view on it and how it relates to health and life in general. So let's just rewind a little bit back to when I was 15, probably around there. I was curious about cannabis. I was curious about this drug. I was listening to Bob Marley for sure, and for me, it was, even at that point, I was interested in a kind of spiritual way. I wanted to know what kind of insights it could produce, because of course Bob Marley talks about it, and I was listening to a lot of roots reggae, and there was a conscious sort of message there about the weed being a positive thing. So yeah, I wanted to check it out. I remember the first few times smoking it with a friend. Oh, it was so funny. I could tell so many stories. It was a good time. But let's not get into the details of that. Basically, I started smoking cannabis, hash mostly at that point. Yeah, every once in a while. For the first few years, it was probably just like 3 or 4 times a year, or a little more, 5-6 times a year maybe, just with a friend. Usually not in a party setting. I liked to do it in a quiet setting with 1 or 2 friends. Eventually, I started smoking it by myself, which took it to another level. I was listening to music. I was meditating, so to speak, listening to this amazing music from Jamaica and other parts of the world, the reggae, which it's looked upon as a kind of happy music, and it is happy in a sense, but it's more of spiritual music. It's about connecting with the truth and with yourself and with life, and it has a message in it. So anyway, I was really enjoying that time. I was smoking weed, starting to smoke it a little bit more, but still, it was like once a week or something like that. I learned so much about myself, though. Let's talk a little bit about that, because, well, first of all, I'll just say quickly, then I moved to Sydney, started smoking it more regularly, maybe 3-4 times a week. Eventually I moved to London and started smoking it every day. Okay, we'll get into the everyday part soon. Cannabis can be amazing. Okay, I think for me it was a huge factor in my development as a human being. It opened up my eyes, and I can't say, if you've never smoked it, you probably don't know what I mean, and if you've never smoked it alone, you might not also understand what I'm talking about. But smoking some weed alone, it just offers you a perspective that's incredible. And again, to the skeptics, cannabis is not strong. I mean, alcohol, that's some strong shit. Tobacco, that's freaking strong. Cannabis, that's pretty mild. I mean, you can get some strong weed, and that can be kind of strong, I guess, but you're not losing yourself. That's the difference with alcohol to cannabis. Alcohol, you're losing yourself. You're losing control. Cannabis, it's almost the opposite. You're finding yourself. You're more in yourself. And it's not like they portray it, like you don't get hallucinations, and it's not like, oh, what's going on? It's not like that. You're completely yourself. Everything is, you feel safe, and this is everything's normal in a sense. But you're starting to get a new perspective a little bit. Your senses are heightened. Music is more enjoyable, and you can really tune in to music, to a movie, to a conversation, to a thought, to a meditation, whatever it is. Cannabis allows you to sort of get into it for real, So for me, it was a huge factor in my development. It was just positive, only positive. It offered me so many insights. Every time I would smoke, I would just get a new insight, and it would just sort of prompt me to ask questions, the big questions, and to investigate myself and who I am and what is consciousness and all these amazing questions. And cannabis was just a tool that I was using in that process. So again, for me, amazing, and I would recommend to smoke cannabis if you haven't done it. I would recommend it. Everyone should smoke some weed. It is just you cannot leave this earth without smoking weed. It's a great experience. Now, yeah, as I moved to London, I started smoking it every day. I started growing it even. I was having a little cabinet in my room there, growing some dwarf plants, really good stuff. And every day, I would smoke it every day. And yeah, I can't say it was negative. It was just continually positive for me. And my music, I was making music at that time. It was sort of helping me, not helping me, but like giving me new ideas even for music, and sort of listening to music even. I was able to sort of analyze it at a deeper level. So enough about my experiences with cannabis. Now, why did I stop smoking cannabis? Well, one day I started coughing. One day I was walking up this hill in London, and I was just like breathing heavy and coughing, and I was just like, what? And this was about the same time as I was starting to get interested in health. I was thinking about a vegan diet. I was starting to walk more around London. I was like, I should stop smoking. I mean, I was smoking. I wasn't like smoking all day. I would just be smoking in the evening, but I could easily. I would just smoke weed though, like never tobacco, just pure weed. So yeah, I would just smoke like 2-3 joints full of pure weed. I could do that in an evening, but always in the evening, most of the time. Sometimes in the day as well, but. So I was not a heavy smoker. Everything's relative, of course, but yeah, I didn't like how it affected my lungs, and honestly, looking back at it now, although it was giving me benefits from a spiritual sort of perspective, in a sense, it was not good for my body. Let's face it, it's not healthy. I mean, I would go to bed really late, feeling really sluggish after smoking so much weed. I would be like, completely wasted, basically. Wake up next day with sort of like a hangover. My lifestyle at that point, it was fine though. I wasn't really into health until I started getting interested in it, and feeling that cough, feeling that heavy breathing, shortness of breath in the little hill. I was just like, this is not me, because I used to do taekwondo. I used to be super fit in my teenage years. I was like, I need to get fit again. I need to get healthy again. And I was inspired about health, inspired about veganism. So I guess I started fading it out. That's what I started doing. Fading it out, smoking a little less, I cut out alcohol as well, and you can check out my video on alcohol here. And at a certain point, I remember, I started eating a raw food diet. I was traveling with Mats. We were here in La Palma, and this guy told me like, why are you smoking weed? I had some weed. I was smoking like once every 2-3 days. I would have a little weed, and he was like, why are you smoking weed? Like it doesn't fit with your thing. Like you're doing fruits and raw foods and health, and you're smoking weed. And I was just like, man, you're totally right. Cut it out completely. No more weed. Cold turkey. Next day, no more weed. And then it was like that for a few years. Then I started, then I was in Costa Rica, I remember. We were in the forest, in the jungle, and there was this cool guy. He had some weed, and he passed it around. It was a meditative, kind of spiritual experience. We were out in the jungle. I thought, this is a good time. Yeah, this is time to smoke weed now. I had a draw. I had some, it didn't smoke a lot, but anyway. And then I realized, wow, this tool, although it's unhealthy to smoke it, it's pretty profound, and I felt like maybe I shouldn't cut it out completely out of my life and keep it there just on occasion, So from that point onward, that's a few years ago now, I've been smoking weed on occasion. I would say as little as once per year, as much as like myself 3 or 4 times per year. But that's it though. Like a couple of times a year. That's how much I smoke weed. And I recently smoked some weed just a few days ago. I had some weed here in La Palma, local grown weed, and I mean it was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I smoked it. I enjoyed the experience. I did it a few days in a row. Again, back in with the insights, a little bit anyway. I watched a movie. I watched The Matrix. Best movie ever to watch when you're stoned. The Matrix. And it was interesting. But then it did not feel good though. Like the smoking part. Just like drawing it in. I was just like, oh, I hated that. It like felt horrible to smoke weed. It just, I didn't want to smoke anything really. So that was nasty, and then I honestly have to say I didn't really like the effects that much either. I mean, again, some of the effects were nice, sure, it is nice, but I noticed how it made me feel like I didn't sleep as well the next day. I sort of had a hangover. Not my style right now. I mean, I do not dig noticing decay, like my when my body doesn't feel like, I'm used to just feeling good, you know, strong, fit, good night's sleep, good food. And although I'm not doing everything in an optimal sense, I'm eating some foods that are less than ideal, it's still clean, fairly clean, you know. But this weed, smoking the weed, it just felt really dirty, you know. I didn't enjoy that. So I packed up my weed. I gave it to a guy here couple of days ago, another guy who smokes a lot of weed, so he can have my weed and some hash and some weed as well. So gave it to him. I'm done with it for a while anyway. I'm open to it again. It, like, you know, it's almost like the smoking part is a sacrifice you make in order to experience the plant, the cannabis plant. So I will surely smoke weed again for the rest of my life. I'll probably keep smoking weed every now and then, but I'm thinking vaporizers. I want to get into vaping, you know. Again, I'll probably still keep it just a few times a year though, but it'll be interesting to try. Why not more often? Frankly, I don't need it. I've gone that, you know, I've been there, done that. I've been through that journey. I don't like it. I don't like to feel like, I prefer feeling on top of things. I prefer feeling clean, clear. I get my high from life. It sounds cliche, but I get high from everyday life. Eating good food, getting that sunshine, moving my body, running. Oh my god, I'm so high when I'm out running. It's, for me, life gives me enough good, feel good, and it's deep enough. Like, life is rich enough without weed. I don't need it. And when I do try it, it sort of gives me an interesting experience, but then I don't like the after effects. So, yeah, that's my story with weed. Please share in the comments your story with weed. Do you smoke it? Have you smoked it? Have you ever tried it? Think it's good? Think it's bad? Share it with me. I'd love to hear about it. So really, yeah, I can't say anything else than I see weed as an amazing plant. I absolutely adore cannabis. Oh, the smell, the taste of some good weed. Oh my god, that's amazing. And of course the insights, the vibes, the meditation that you get from it. Really, really good. I'm open to trying other drugs, you know, mushrooms, maybe LSD. I would be interested in trying that also for the journey, the trip, the spiritual aspects of, and the mental and the experience. I would like to try it, but I'm a little worried as well. So I don't feel like I'm completely ready for that yet. And then with the weed, as I said, I don't need it that much. So every now and then, sure, I'll smoke it. I'll have some weed. Depends on the situation. When the time is right, the time is right. But most of the time, 99.9% of the time, I'm on that clean living train. I just get high by going up in the mountains. You know, I get high by running around in the forest. I get high by eating mangoes, okay? Sweet potatoes. I get high. Every day I get high, eating, sleeping, running, talking to cool people. I mean, just living life. It's the best high there is. So be careful out there, kids. You know, don't get caught up in smoking too much weed. I don't know if that's possible, too much. I mean, it all depends on where you're at, what stage you're at. And if you're drawn to weed and you want to use that plant as a tool for your development in life, I suggest you give it a try. Yeah, do it alone or with a good friend. But certainly try it alone at one point, because it will give you the ability to just ponder and contemplate quietly and feel your body, and yeah, just experience it fully. It ain't healthy though. It ain't healthy. That's just the truth. Just a quick note on the end here. People talk about benefits of cannabis. Oh, it heals this and good for Parkinson. Yeah. Sure. I mean, it can be used for Parkinson. It's pretty amazing. Epilepsy. It's a good drug. Very clean and safe drug compared to a lot of pharmaceutical products. But in reality, what you really should do is to live healthfully, so you're not sick, so you don't need drugs, right? I'm pretty sure even that things like Parkinson's could probably be reversed. I don't know, by eliminating animal foods, dairy, maybe grains, keeping it clean, fruit-based diet, healthy living, good sleep. I mean, healthy living results in health. And so trying to take drugs to sort of suppress symptoms, that's not really my style. That's not really what I think anyone should do. Same goes for cannabis. So, yeah, if you need to heal something, you have to remove the cause of your disease. That's the only way to heal anything. You remove the cause and then the body returns to health. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having an awesome day. Give this video a like if you liked it, share it with your friends, post it on Facebook, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't done so already. And again, as I said, share in the comments what you think about cannabis. I'd love to hear it. See ya.